You all ready to join me today in our trip to outer space?
Yeah.
Albert Shivers.
The Matrix doesn't have him.
That's very true.
Come along quietly or not.
Goodbye, Willis.
As I was about to try to bribe
From Albert
the
Shivers.
mistress of the fading light.
They don't have to like it.
They're trying to put a caravan.
The general concept is that creativity flourishes in an atmosphere of freedom.
Good evening. Well, thanks for coming to the show tonight.
Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Planet Shivers podcast. I am, as I always have been, Albert Shivers, and good God, is this going to be a good episode today. I'm real excited to share this one with you. On this episode, we have a new guest as well as some old friends come back on the show. We record this in a super secret location somewhere in Pennsylvania, and the special guest is Boomer Ray, who comes on the show to talk to us about his experience seeing Zappa in 1976 and a look into the life of a very good friend of all of ours on the podcast, a really great guy. And I'm glad, we worked to get him on the show, and all the stars aligned, and you are about to hear the product of all of us getting together. One more thing before I get into the show. Big thank you to some family of the pod, Sean and Isaac, who helped put this whole thing together, helped record it. I've been having some technical difficulties on Planet Shivers, so we had to fly over to their planet and get it done right, and it really came out fantastic. This isn't only about Frank Zappa. This is a window into 1976, what life was like back then. What was it like going to a concert at the Palladium in New York in 1976? I really enjoyed this show. I'm so appreciative that we got it done. Don't forget, you could find this episode and all the other episodes on all major podcast platforms and YouTube with a little bit of video. This is recorded exactly how I want all the podcasts to be recorded, and unrefined recordings are the way I like it. I want you to feel like you're at the table with us. And I hope you do, and I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as we all did. This is a special one, so enjoy.
You are listening to the first station on your dial. WCNW, operating on a frequency of 1,500 kilocycles in Brooklyn, New York.
All right, folks, welcome to another episode of the Planet Shivers podcast. I am back for a very exciting episode, and I'm here with Sean, who's been on the show a handful of times in most of our best roundtable episodes. But on this episode, we have a first-time guest who is not only a musician, but a musical adventurer, Boomer Ray. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure, Albert. We've been looking forward to this since the idea came about.
Yeah. So we're going to mainly talk about your experiences at seeing Frank Zappa during his Palladium run from 1976, 77, and 78. I guess we could start chronologically in 76. And begin with what got you into going to these shows? Were you a Zappa fan before you went to these shows?
Yes, but not a hardcore fan. But in a way, I was a hardcore fan because my brother was a Vietnam vet in the naval end of it. He was deployed over there, and had to walk perimeter and was on the boat, and the aircraft carrier, I should say, not the boat. That's stupid. And dealt with the horrors of that. And he would bring back records that I don't know if they still call it this, but he said, I got this at the PX. You could buy anything at the PX, and it was dirt cheap because they're there and they're doing what they're doing. So he had a bunch of albums, and some of them was Zappa, and one of it was, well, there were two that I remember. We're only in it for the money, and Absolutely Free.
Okay, those are two good ones.
Yeah.
And the original Mothers.
The original Mothers.
Yeah.
And, as time went by, in 1976, for a reference point, I was 17. So he came back, pardon this beverage interruption.
It's all right.
He came back, I think it was 70, his discharge was 72 or 3, 73 maybe. And he came back, no, it was earlier than that, probably 72. So he came back, and he's floating in and out of the household. And so, the household for him became a transit station for whatever came next. So we all, saw this big pile of albums, and, in like 1973, I'm 14 years old, and I just discovered pot. So I'm smoking pot, and I'm getting really high, and I got a record player. And I see my brother, and my brother was very much a superhero to me, because he was a guy that, had to leave the family, to serve his country. And, I got 4 years that I didn't see him, and I was, not happy about it, but I knew that there was the Vietnam War going on. So, that was what he had to do. And he would come home on leave, and it was fun because, he would come in with his uniform, come back. And I was a kid, in 1968, I was 9 years old. So, he would grab my legs and my feet and spin me around, do stuff like that. And then, as I got older, he knew I liked music, and I actually did play drums in junior high school, and I actually read music. Which is, this is ancient history at this point, but I did. I would look at the whatever the the book said, do beat, ding, 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 ding. I did that, but I didn't want to pursue it more because it got more complicated, as rhythm gets. So I knew that I was at a crossroads, but he bought me a snare drum at a music store, and we would go, and when he was around, I would just tap out a beat and he would play, and that was like so cool. And so time went by, he left, and I'm continuing my years of life, and I'm growing, and I'm meeting all these people. I'm getting stoned, as a young age, 14. I don't know, 1976. I was 17, so. It was the year. You know what? And this is and bless you, Albert, for doing this, because you don't connect dots until you're on this seat thinking about your life. And that was the year LSD hit.
Okay.
Everybody.
Uh-huh.
So we are, this is like the summer of tripping.
It's a good time to have a stack of records to go through.
The what's that?
I said it was a good time to have a stack of records to go through.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah. So we're like, all of a sudden we're just going through, and this phase of our life, which is not the phase every other child had to deal with, because they say, kids are going, I'm going, like if you're a girl, I have a phase, or a guy crush on this, that's like that phase. When you get into the psychoactive phase, this is, and it's very singular to how many people percentage do it, and what have you, and all that what that brings into one person's life. But this all happened in the summer of '76, so we're all doing, going to parties and just who's got this, purple micro dot and. Brown blotter, who's got pop, and this is just like teenage kids. And the funny thing about it is, and this is very, I may be useful in the sense that, the kids always outwit the parents. The parents haven't a clue what's going on because they we're preoccupied with with the routines of life and the obligations that can be met, but the kids are just like running free and doing whatever, so they have opportunity to be very artistic in their what they express, right? So like we're like doing all this crazy shit, nobody fucking notices nothing. They're just happy it's status, like like we're not doing anything like spiking the red line. So I guess like we're listening to Frank Zappa. I remember being in my basement of my parents' house, and me and a friend we're tripping our ass off, and we're listening to just another band from L.A.
Okay.
Billy the Mountain, right? Oh my God, we're laughing we can't even, we want to go to sleep, but we can't because we're laughing our asses off, right? So this is that summer. And it was a very defining summer in my life when I think about it. But anyway, so we're, the people that are listening to this batch of records, which we're leaning heavy on Zappa here, another timeout break here. Pardon me. Zappa, announced that he was going to play shows at the Palladium in New York. We didn't know what the hell the Palladium was, but hell, it
sounds good.
Sounds good. Zappa's at the Palladium in New York. Tickets are like, I don't know, back then it wasn't insurmountable, probably like $8 or something.
Right.
I mean, it was like cheap shit, because the dollar actually bought crap back then. So okay, I have a car that my father got me out of the goodness of his heart, because even though I did work as a young person, I don't think I had any money to show for it. It was kind of like a family thing. Dad, gets son a car. Because I did. I was like, doing, I had some, experience with jobs, not much, but no, I did. I cut lawns and what else did I do? I cut lawns. It was basically it, because everything else sucked.
Shovel some snow sometimes.
What's that, bro?
Shovel the snow every now and then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. We would.
Yeah.
I'll take another one of those.
I did plenty of snow shoveling too.
Yeah. Snow shoveling was good because you know what? It was neighbors, and neighbors were very good to the kids, and it was like whatever. Shoot a path so we don't slip and fall and break a hip.
Right. Yes.
And we'll give you whatever. It was always good. So because the other thing was, I had a paper route, but that didn't last too long because I guess I probably got disinterested, honestly, because I know I mentioned this to Sean. I said, it was like I did the route, whatever, and it was an upper, middle. It was like a middle income, upper middle. Thank you, brother. Mm-hmm. An income neighborhood, and that's another slant to this story. Cheers,
yes.
Cheers. We're having a,
To those who have moved on, and Frank.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, and hey, hi.
Hello.
We're just talking Frank Zappa and a bunch of other bullshit. Not the Zap is bullshit. He's the reverse of bullshit. Yeah, he was fucking fantastic. In a paper route, like the one guy would like come to, I don't know, it was good in this sense. If the weekly bill for the paper subscription was 40 cents, he would give me like $1.50, and the reason being, like, I always knock on the door like at 10:30 in the afternoon. Cheers, and he would show up like so every time. Literally, he'd be hung over like a mother, and he'd be in his underwear, and you could see the hurt. Like he's like in this like suburban upper middle income. Oh, okay, kid, like, and he'd be like, oh crap, and he like didn't even know, like, and he'd pay, he'd just show out the money and shit. My best account, I guess, if you could call it that. So I did that, and then I picked up golf balls at a local golf range. But then the people were trying to kill me. They would just, I lasted a day or two. I don't know, probably one, because I think I'm too smart to go two. But they were whizzing by my head, and then if I didn't see them coming, and as I'm picking them up, I'd see them hit the ground in like dust clouds. And this was after the person said, like, if you're a driver of golf balls, the kids out there, you hit in that direction. That would be the rule. Like, you can shoot it, but as a kid picking golf balls out. No, I became target practice.
Moving targets irresistible.
Yes, and I get that. It's almost like, what was that movie with the boys? That they killed each other on the island. Oh crap! I can't think of the name of it right now.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, it was like it's like a suburban like Lord of the Flies. So fuck that. So I colons, that's what I did. But so in the process of all of this, it's like, okay, we're always looking to go to a good concert, and we hear Zapp is at the Palladium. Mm-hmm. So everybody I know is like, oh fuck yeah, we got to go see Zapp at the Palladium. Mm-hmm. So, okay, the event comes along, and I got a car that my father got me, which I didn't put a dime into it. Bless his heart. My mother's, give the kid a car, right? So it was a $500 Datsun, and it was a Datsun 510, a 4-door, and this car really defines in a lot of ways the way I am and the way I think, because I was never like, when all the other kids in my school, they wanted, I want a freaking, Barracuda or Road Runner or whatever. I wanted like a car that can transport a bunch of heads economically. Like that's the way, and how do we achieve this goal, right? So we get this car. I get it, and it's just a simple little 4-cylinder Datsun, a 1968 Datsun 510, and it's amazing the damn thing even ran, because Sean knows this story. This is a deviation, but I remember, like, things would break, but the car would keep rolling, and one time the windshield wiper motor failed, so I had 2 friends in the back seat with string, and we hooked it up to the wipers, and they were doing the wipers, and I think we were at the pawn shop, and I might have pawned my guitar or something, I don't know, but we were at the pawn shop, because I used to pawn it for rent money. But a policeman was in front of us walking, and he looked at us, and he had the funniest look. We're doing like the arm. You can't see this because this is audio only, but I'm moving my arms forward like I'm punching. They're doing this, yang, 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 yang. So this is the car that's designated to go to see Zappa at the Palladium in 1976
Sounds good.
October.
It's the good car to go see Frank with.
Well, we got it, and it's running. so now here's the Vietnam vet brother. Now he's got a place on Park Avenue at 34th Street, and I, of course, where would if you lived in the New Jersey area, and you're 17 with a driver's license, and you got a brother, and he's living with a model, a woman who's making money. She wasn't an Eileen Ford, but she was maybe one up below that, and her close friend was Patty Hansen, who was Keith Richards' wife.
Wow.
So that's the connectivity, I guess you could say. So and she was just for a 17-year-old young man who's looking at this beautiful girl, like these people are like, oh my God, they're like gods to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like how cool life can be. Right, so they are in this, and the apartment they were in at that location was Foster. I think his name was he was the architect that he was the original guy who got caught with his teenage mistress in the swing naked. That his wife found out and killed him, reputation, like all of that. At the time, it was a 7-story building. That was his house. And over time, they
Kept going.
broke it into like 15 apartments or whatever.
That's quite a house for this.
Oh my God, yeah. It was. So like this is where he ends up in, and he's got this girlfriend, and we're on a corner at 34th and Park Avenue, and it was great because if I got bored, I'd go out on the sidewalk and I'd start bumming for cigarettes, and in like 15 minutes I'd have like a pack.
Wow. It was fresh produce from up north. And
Yeah.
if you like.
It's the Monty Python. Intermission.
Ooh. You gotta go.
Albert,
Make acquisitions.
Yeah. All right.
This is gonna be fun to listen to.
So, yeah, and yeah. So yeah, and it was crazy. Even before this event, I'd go up there and it would, we'd get down. This will just demonstrate to everybody who listens to this, and they already know it anyway. I mean, like how far the dollar has died, because we would get down. We would wake up, because of course, when I was there, I'd meet all of these interesting people because he had a model girlfriend. He was a guitar player, Vietnam dude, and the musicians that would come in, it would be I'd go there and there'd be happening people, just you could feel the electricity, what was going on, and so we would wake up in the morning, and then we'll get downstairs and we would eat a full egg breakfast. I don't know if coffee was included, but even if it wasn't, it was 49 cents.
Yeah.
That was America back then, and all of that. So, So we're preparing to go, to do this, adventure, into the city to see Zappa, and we all, Oh, and Zoodalores came out.
Okay.
So like that was huge, and
Yeah.
we knew his shit before that.
That was the first Zappa record I ever seen or listened to. Was Zoodalores.
What a great
'Cause
baptism.
Yeah, because the not to deviate from your story, but that was like right at the same time of that show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I was coming up, the Bikers had that record, and I was just starting to get into vinyl, and that was right in the front of their stack.
Wow.
And I'm like, who are these? Because on that cover, Zappa is very ominous looking. On that cover, I'm like, who are these dudes? And that was my introduction, shortly followed by Apostrophe. But
So you kind of went like in reverse a little bit because you
I
found
was
you
darting
got
around.
Yeah.
Because I was way after the fact when all these
Yeah.
albums came out.
But that speaks to age.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. And that's the thing about music that kind of like it knows no time.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part about that is whatever this biological cultural adventure is, you leave forensics, and some forensics are complementary and some are the extreme reverse.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that just comes into play. But wow, so
Yeah, I derailed us. I'm sorry. You were on your way to the show.
Oh, we're on.
And
Yeah.
Zoodalores just came out.
So yeah. Thank you, Albert. Keeping
It
us
was
on
my
track.
fault. It was
So well, now we're going to see Zappa, and we bought the tickets in advance. I don't know what that, because back then it was like Ticketmaster or some shit.
Yeah.
Whatever we did, we buy. Well, yeah. So we're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got to go to the city. Now the funny thing about this that we survived this, adventure like with the car, leaping forward, like way, because like the thing about like the Japanese, the Japanese are so incredible in that once that they're innovative as hell, as can be testified in 10 Ways a Sunday. But back then, like, they were not like jumping into the auto industry full force, and motorcycles and all that. But like with the Datsun 510, I got this car, and it was, what was it, 1908, what the hell? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it was 68. You could tell I'm feeling really good here. And that's how the years escape you. So
68.
So
510.
So, when you're a kid and you don't have an understanding of the value of money, everything is a gift from your parents.
Pretty much.
Because they you have to navigate through society. So
I'm gonna put it up here.
So
Hear from you?
you don't have the real understanding of how labor and money is connected. It's just not there because you were in between the warm arms of your mother, your father, who was taking care of you, and now you're out in the the great wide open,
universe.
which can be the cold open, because people are not going to look out for you, so to speak. They could, but now you have to understand the value of money. So, here we are, we know this, date is coming. We have to get there, because we bought tickets. We love Zappa. So we're going to go see Frank Zappa. Meet at Ray's house at, 5 o'clock. Right? Okay, we're at Ray's house. All right, we're going to see Zappa. How many you got? We got 5 people. Now, the Datsun 510 with 4 doors could accommodate 5 people, especially 5, teenagers, because, generally speaking, you're, maybe 150 pounds. It's not like the 2024 version of, 5 people in a car, which would be like, 2,800 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's like big go-karts.
So we all show up, and we're going to New York. But how are we going to do this? Wow, I have some LSD. That sounds great. So we all take LSD. We're off. So we're driving up the turnpike, and whatever, and it makes sense. We're getting into like Weehawken, I think it is. I don't know what where the Lincoln Tunnel is, right? We're over there. Shit's not kicking in yet, Didn't we get beat? We're going through the tunnel. No. It starts hitting like a firestorm. The tiles are like going woo-wee, woo-wee, woo-wee. So we end up at my brother's place on 34th and Park Avenue. And we're fucking flying, and he's afraid. He's scared, and he's thinking, "You guys are going downtown." And yeah, we're going down. Okay, all right. He tried everything he could to talk us out of it, but we didn't do it. And we went to see Zappa, and we parked the car. And it was almost like, throwing a dirty sock over your shoulder. We had no clue.
We're not in it anymore.
Because we are fucking high.
It's somewhere. It's in New York.
Somewhere in New York. So we get to the show, and we're fucking high as hell. And it was like, there were, I don't even know how to... It was the genius of Zappa, because it wasn't like a Dead show. The Dead catered to people being really high, really into it. Mm-hmm. And even if they weren't intentionally, and I don't know if they were, I don't know. I would say they weren't, but like it's formula, like it's like rhythmic stuff that goes on and on and on will capture anybody, because that's the nature of it. Mm-hmm. But Zappa, it was the opposite of that. He challenged your mind, because you'd be like, you'd be like listening to him to play these dirty licks on his guitar that, the tone and the force and the gorgeousness of his yeah. Mm-hmm. Then the next thing you know, it'd be like and if you're high on acid, it's a lot.
I can imagine.
It's a lot.
Because then those shows musically can turn on a dime.
Yes, and that's what it was. There was no slow walk of, there was no like a graph of evenness. He was like bang, dank, but yeah. And that was his beauty, and that's why you love the guy.
Right.
So
he had a unique voice. That's everything.
And at the time he had Terry. Is it Bozio or Bozio or who cares? Terry, right? Terry was the guy, and he was just. I don't know how you could be better. Like the guy was just a fucking nuclear, drumming machine. Mm-hmm. In perfect sync with everything. So, we withstood, because of course, with what goes on when you're tripping. But there's multiple options. You don't know where you are. You know where you are. You're stripping yourself to your soul.
You think where you are, yeah.
Yeah, you're stripping yourself to your soul. And it's a very good moral wake-up call.
It is that.
Mm-hmm. And there you are. So like we left the show, and you were like, where do we park? And we found the car, and it was like it shouldn't have been towed. I mean, it should have been towed. It was like fucking cockeyed, like not like right. We just we're in there, and they didn't tow it, and I guess maybe whatever.
They understood. Yeah.
Well, it could be payoffs from the venue. You're doing this. Who knows? It could in multiple ways is Sunday, but we all went home, and 5 guys from New Jersey saw Frank Zappa, and I would not. What's the right word? I would say there isn't a single one of them that revisits that night. Because it was just one of those nights. Yeah.
Do you?
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
No, some nights are like that, and they're just printed.
No,
forever.
they're the ones that carry you through your life.
Yeah.
And I flash back on that. Not often at all. It could be like once every 5 years or something. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like when I flash back on it, it means a lot. Because like it was like one of those defining moments of one's life. Where are these stupid kids from? Middle income plus a little bit plus, I guess you could. We were like up. They called it upper middle class. I'm a child of that. Mm-hmm. And this is what came with that. And that's it.
Yeah. Wow, dude. Yeah.
So how long did the show itself? Did it feel long, or did it feel like being that you had the acid that it went?
No, it was. I there's 2 things about that show that it was burned almost genetically into me. I mean, it was like, whatever I pass on, I felt that it was Zappa had a guy who was on, like he shadowed him on stage, and I guess he was afraid for his bodily health, right? So this dude was not that it matters, but he was this black dude that looked like don't fuck with me, and he had a scepter or what the hell? What the hell did he have? It was like a black device that as it got to the length to the end of it, which was maybe 3 feet, 4 feet, it looked pointy. And so Frank Zappa would walk to the edge of the stage and start shaking hands with people. But people would try to pull him in to the audience, right? So this dude, he'd go like, and it was violent. It was violent. We're like, bah! And it sent a signal. Mm-hmm. And it shut that shit right up.
So Zappa traveled with a bodyguard.
Well,
after
I don't. Did he?
Yes.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Told me that story.
When he was pushed off stage in the 70s during the like just another band from LA period, a guy in the audience who, when he talked to police, had said that this man believed that Frank Zappa was eyeing up his girlfriend. So he jumped from the audience onto the stage, shoving Zappa into the orchestra pit.
Oh man.
And out his way down, he hit his chin like on the edge of the stage.
Oh.
And did some damage. He was in a wheelchair for a period of time.
He got hurt.
And since then, he had always had extra security in case some other nut job.
And this was
what
year?
That was like 71.
72.
Oh,
Yeah, right in there.
Well, it makes sense, you know. I mean, you know.
You'd want to do like a cattle prod up there or something.
Well, that's what. Like I was thinking of. It was. That's what I'm thinking. Like,
yeah.
And it neutralized the threat to him. Mm-hmm. But so like that's what I remember. Mm-hmm. You know, is the yeah. Now I know who came with me, and this is all because of this podcast. Mm-hmm. It was a guy. Oh God, I can't think of his name. This is how bad, you know. It was in 1976, so I'm not worried. But anyway, so he, the Cheech and Chong album came out where they gave you the big rolling. Thank you, Albert. The Cheech and Chong album, the big rolling paper. So now there's 3 people I can figure who's in this car. I'm one of them. So, he took that paper and he rolled a joint of it, and it was monstrous, and the whole. You know, there had to be thousands of people that were like cheering us on. It was like a sub sandwich of pot was. So he started going Zappa, 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 like before he came out, and he just wouldn't shut up, and he just gained the whole crowd.
Oh wow!
Everybody was like so. That is what I remember, you know, like, oh God, that, and, you know, being high as a kite, and finding the car. But yeah, he was, you know, that guy. I credit to him. You know, you cross the line, you know, you need to be zapped. So we got home, you know, we did get home. And yeah, that was October of 1976.
76. Wow.
That's a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And just one of those concerts, like if you would have asked me, you know, great concerts, you know, I might surprise you with the answer, but that was, you know, great. Oh, I didn't get to the part, like the great thing about Japanese technology and you know, Datsuns and cars and everything. I remember at some point, you know, I opened up the radiator because a 17-year-old kid, maintenance is not in the vocabulary. And I don't know why I had to,
It takes a couple of years sometimes.
Yeah, and I opened up the cap of the radiator, and the water or whatever the fluid,
geyser,
the fluid, it was just mud, mud, and that car transported me with a mud cooling system.
Yeah.
That was Nissan back in the day.
They probably liquefied at like 120 degrees a little bit, maybe. Who knows? Yeah.
I don't know what else they had.
Cars
We
were
made,
awesome back then.
we made it home.
Yeah.
I'm still alive, and I've been a productive human being, or at least I like to think.
And that was just 76.
That was 1976.
So you'd seen him in 77.
Yes. And
And then
78. And then I don't know what happened after that. I guess it might have been money. It might have been because I saw him 3 times. I had a fill. I don't know, but it's awesome you discovered him, with Zoodalores. Oh, I know the third. I was searching for a third, thing the takeaway. He played the Torture Never Stops.
Okay.
And it was funny because I'm in this, tripping head of, this is not a song you want to hear while you're tripping on acid.
That's true.
The Torture. And then when whoever, I think it might have been Patrick O'Hearn who did the screamy voices, but I'm not certain on that. I don't know who did that on that.
Right.
But the guy just chickened out, because he, when they get into that whole thing, he started it and he shut up, and so it was just a musical. So I'm sure Zappa was pissed because he's paying them to do that. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But I caught it. But I'm fucking high, and I'm like, oh God. Here, I'm gonna trip my ass off. He's got this pointy thing. He's going, bang, bang, to people, and then I had the Torture, Never Stops thing going, and
Wow, that was fun.
Take one quick second.
It's the Polaroid Kmart U.S. All-Pro Funny Card Championship. 32 funny cards. See the wild burnout contest with the world's fastest funny car, John Brute Force, defending champion, the Black Magic. A funny card tug of war right on the track. See all the funny cars fire up at the same time, California style, including 4 jet cars side by side. Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock at Old Bridge Township Raceway Park near Englishtown, New Jersey.
I just wanted
it up.
No, yeah.
We had 45 minutes down, so I wanted to just cut it and save it so that if anything happens to the power.
Okay. So this was not we got salvageable.
Yeah, secure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Albert, take us out of here.
I was wondering. I remember you telling me the story is when he, messed up his neck and stuff.
Who messed up his neck?
When he got pushed
when
off
he got
stage.
attacked by that guy,
Yeah.
So, didn't he? What did he write during that period, or didn't he? Wasn't there something he did?
So all right, going into that period of time, before he was attacked, he was playing with just another band from LA lineup, which the 2 front men were
Flo and Eddie
from the Turtles.
Mark Bowman. Okay.
So, from what I know and what I've read, that tour was kind of cruising along. They had gotten over some bumps in the road, and it was cruising along, and then this happens. And the entire band, without Frank, the entire band...
That's what killed it.
That's what killed that lineup.
That lineup?
Yes.
Wow.
So, at that point, Frank was in a wheelchair. He couldn't go up and perform. So he put together what started as, I think, an 11-piece orchestra to just do his instrumental, very jazz fusion type tunes. And that happened like 72, which was the Waka Jawaka album and the Grand Wazoo album, which were the two that came just before Overnight Sensation and Apostrophe, and then down the line.
Yeah.
So these were just basically instrumental, very high octane jazz records
Is that
that he blew out.
That came later.
Yeah,
that
that
was
was like
later
79
even.
or 79 maybe.
Yeah, and he did a short tour called the Grand Wazoo, and then he got better. He got out of the wheelchair. He was able to play the guitar more easily, and then he slowly took some of those remaining guys, George Duke, Jean-Luc Ponty, who played in the big band, to that smaller, more rock band that did things like Apostrophe. If that answered your question.
That's cool.
Yeah, but that I never knew that, because that was like the 200 Motels, Flo and Eddie, and all that. Like all of a sudden that stopped, and the way he rolled, I mean, he had so many different bands, but until this moment I didn't know why it ended.
Yeah,
and that all because of injury.
Yeah, and there were times when guys from that band would come back, like George Duke was in that band, and he did continue with Zappa. And a few other people would come back, but there were a couple of times when Zappa tried to get Flo and Eddie to come back and do a tour, and by that point they already had a solo career, the two of them, I guess a duo career, worked out pretty good and never could come back.
Right.
But there were some times when
Dynamics just weren't there.
Yeah.
Well, I remember seeing a video somewhere, but it was like Flo and Eddie showed up. No, Frank showed up at a Flo and Eddie thing.
Yeah.
And he couldn't they couldn't get, like they were doing Billy the Mountain or something, but it wasn't working.
Right.
It just, but that's just it. It's just like with everything else in life. It's kind of an illustration of how time just changes every, like it doesn't, But boy, he is. They love him in Europe more than they do here, I think.
Yeah.
But no, maybe that's not true. But they
at the time, you could say.
He was, Warren's. He's kind of like the electric Warren Zevon in a way. They both have, Frank more so. He has more popularity, but it's like you either like him or you don't. They're those guys.
Right.
Both of them are those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, it's like if you say the Eagles, it's almost like Murray Hamilton in Jaws. When it's Summertown, you say Barracuda. People say, huh? What? You say shark. You get a panic on the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles don't generate that.
Right.
Or maybe the Beatles. I don't know. But like if you say, Frank Zappa or Warren Zevon, it's kind of, you either like them or you don't.
Yeah.
There aren't many people. I mean, there are probably. I mean, I should say that there are people like that, and it just shows up in how much music they sell.
Yeah.
But again, it's just public taste and what it translates into dollars. I mean, if you're going to guide a society, by that, we're all doomed. I mean, think of it. Yeah, I don't know. I just love both those artists, and yet Warren Zevon way less. Frank, not too many. I mean, I think like a big record sale for Zappa was million record. He might have been platinum, but not much more.
He'll be, when they look at the 20th century, he's going to be sitting close to the top of the heap with all the other big ones.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like the guy, if the guy sold 1 million copies of a record, I don't think he's done it more than one hand.
Yeah.
He's that guy. And Warren Zevon is lesser than that guy. And you think of like what they did, and then somebody farts in a fishbowl, that can translate to $14 million if it's positioned right. It's
the world's upside down.
That's the general the general thing. But I got nothing left to add. I would,
All right. Well, what else? We went into it a little bit before, but I didn't want to detract from your story. But hearing Zoodle Lures as the first Zappa record, then buying a record player from the Salvation Army on Staten Island, and
what town?
Not New Brighton.
Oh, West End.
Yeah. And not even having speakers, I actually plugged it into the television aux to listen to a record through the television.
Wow.
And I had gotten George Carlin FM AM from Salvation Army.
Nice.
And was playing that a bunch, and then my mother let me go through her records, but she gave me, before I was able to dig through, she goes, play this one, and it was Zappa's Apostrophe. And I played side one, which was Don't Eat the Yellow Snow.
Oh yeah. Father Oblivion, all that.
So that was the next, and I'm 13, so Yellow Snow's still pretty funny.
Oh yeah. You ain't laughing at that at 13.
Right.
You're a badass problem boy.
Right. So that's downloaded in my memory, and I don't really revisit Zappa till way later when I go through all these different musical phases and being into different things from 14 all the way probably late teens, 17, 18, when I'm really into Bob Dylan and didn't quite have a sense of humor yet.
Yeah.
So
he gets pushed to the side.
Yeah. So I'm at some stupid antique auction that would happen in Hawley, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And every once in a while they'd have a box of records, and there was a box of records there that had Dylan records, which was enough to draw me in.
Get you to buy it.
So it was $20 box of records at the end when you're bidding on it with some old lady. And bring it home, sit it down, and just start digging through and do the whole keep, maybe, no.
Yeah, right.
And there were 2 Zappa records in the box, which was Bongo Fury.
Oh, yeah.
And the second volume of Joe's Garage.
Oh.
And I put
that's fun. Just finding the second half.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I pulled those 2 out of the box. I went, oh, Mom likes him. She played me the Apostrophe. Oh, I gotta keep these.
Excellent, yeah.
So I put those in the keep pile. And slowly, as I listened to the rest of the things that were in the box, whether subconsciously or consciously, I don't remember, but I'd saved the Zappa records for last. And I played Bongo Fury first. It was good, but it didn't, whatever needed to grab me wasn't quite on that record that day.
You needed to be grabbed first and then go to Bongo.
Yeah. So when I play the second volume of Joe's Garage and don't know the story because it was Volume 2. And
Yeah.
those one. So I'm just floating. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
It's just weird.
convoluted
Just
ocean of
going.
Zappa.
It's hard enough to follow.
Yeah.
First time.
And I have to say, I was never a Joe's Garage guy because, at that I always considered myself, getting the best of Zappa, which would have been, even though I wasn't an active listener, if we're only in it for the money, and absolutely free, and you take that timeline, up to Roxy and elsewhere, there's a whole damn boatload of, wonderfulness, that's there. So there was that, and then but then there was, the period, you got Bongo Fury, which was 74-ish, right? With apostrophe. And then that takes you, up to Zoodalures, and then you get the, Ship arriving to lay, save a drowning witch. It was like 1980, 81. It's a massive amount of, wonderful Frank Zappa. Period. Nothing that. But again, having been drawn to his, room, I inhabited a lot of, Zappa listening. But then, you can't just be, closed-minded, so of course other things that, took my attention or whatever. I always watched this thing. But when the one, 81, Catholic Girls and, whatever. What was the name of that one again?
The album?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were on Joe's Garage.
Joe's Garage.
Yeah.
I was not a consumer of Joe's Garage. I had, kind of just, look, I know he's a genius. He's an incredible guitar player. I saw him play. But when I want him, I'll go to what he's released, And because there was obviously other things to do. So that's what that was, and then the 80s. I didn't even know how I got there, but I ended up getting the Thing Fish.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God! what a that's a whole thing.
They wanted to make a play. It was supposed to be a play, but it just never. Frank had the costumes made. They were ready.
That's a true optimist. And I'll tell you what, because I remember reading somewhere, he said in 1988, I took my band to Europe and I lost $800,000. And he said, I'm not eager to do that again. But what can I say? If you put Zappa on right now, I'm happy. It's that good. He's that guy. There are so many people that put out the work that they do.
That clip of him playing the bicycle in the late 50s.
Oh yeah,
that was cool. Yeah,
it was the beginning of the makings of the beginning.
Yeah, he's beyond normal, or even then.
Yeah, he I just love that hit. When you saw him with an SG, strapped on his back,
ripping,
and he was just ripping. This is a good place to hear.
That's
a great place to be.
That's a rare thing to get in your memory banks, like firsthand and be enough.
It's so true because we are just billion cell, trillion cell clusters of flesh inside of a capsulation to whatever you subscribe your soul to be, and nothing but information. It's just. I mean, to you.
Yeah.
And it is what you are. You are what you are, Zappa. You are what he is. But
yeah, it was that second that volume 2 is what I had put it on, and I was always, which was late, but I had a turntable in my bedroom because that's what was at the Salvation Army. Like I wasn't gonna get a brand new stereo. I had like, okay, this is what we're going with. Records are cool. This is what we're going with.
Yeah. It's what I can do right now.
I can go to, as a kid, go to the Salvation Army and Goodwill's with a couple of dollar bills that my aunt gave me or something.
Yeah.
And walk out with records for $0.25.
Yeah.
And have all this stuff to show for it.
Yeah.
So I had this record player in my room, and that's putting on the second volume of Joe's Garage. It was Watermelon in the Easter Hay, which is just the guitar instrumental tune. A little bit of talk in the beginning. And
spoken word before he plays?
Yeah, that was like, there was like the arc over Joe's Garage was Zappa would do these weird narrations before each song. To kind of, yeah.
And that was specific to that album.
Yes. And that would kind of bring you down the road of how each song tied together to tell the story that was on the album. So there was talk that I probably at the time didn't even pay attention to.
Yeah.
And I'm cleaning my room, Zappa's on in the background, and it's that, you put a record on and you're just riding it out. You don't know what to expect, but you're going to put it on, you're going to straighten up the room, thumb through a book, and you're going to ride it out and see if you like it or not.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing, and Watermelon the Easter Hay got me to stop, walk over to the turntable, and just stare at the record spinning. And that was the hook. And then I was like, okay, I need to hear everything.
Wow. Well, he was definitely, if again, and it's I don't want to say this sounds like a terrible thing to say, but it's also, in my mind, an indictment of, the people. When you look at like the sales of product, like musical, like I said before, if Zappa sold a platinum record, could we count them on like one hand? Right?
Probably not.
Right? If you said the same for Warren Zevon, I don't even know if he had a platinum record. And the what they brought to your, if you're looking for excellence in musical arrangements and guitar, especially with Frank Zappa's, guitar playing, and Zevon, with his songwriting and his piano and the people he assembled and everything, it's a very like little piece of. And then you look at like what's feeding the public, and that's not good in my mind, because that just says there's no accounting for taste, but that's just one person's opinion. But Albert, thank you for this. I think, I don't know what this is, but I'm happy we did it, and I'm happy we're all together.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Planet Shivers podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We got more good shows coming down the road, so stay tuned to all the channels where you can find this, all major podcast platforms, YouTube with video. Big, huge thank you to Sean and Isaac for helping engineer this, put it together. Sean for helping me edit everything together. It came out fantastic, And a big thank you to Boomer Ray for coming on the show, telling us his story, sharing a big chunk of his life with us in conversation. Like I said in the beginning, this is a special one, and I sure do hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else.